Hello, my name is Colin Hoffman, and this is my multiculturalism in media reflection upon my interviews and my community events. In my personal and professional life, I operate under the handle of the sociologist, doing journalism and interviews, as well as short and long form video formatting for doing social science research applications to better understand ourselves and the world around us. So, my media assignment is exploring what science communication, which is what this is, communicating between the professionals in a field and lay people or other professionals outside this field. I was able to encompass going between hard and soft sciences. One of the events I got to attend was Denver No Kings 3. So, this was at the Denver Capitol. It was a protest where a lot of scientists were. Advocating for particular scientific endeavors, such as public health, such as scientific funding, such as higher education, learning opportunities, as well as a lot of social sciences as well. I interviewed Zoe Cradell and Steve Rios there. Zoe was there advocating for personal autonomous human rights, for gender and sexuality identity. Steve Rios was there as a um, representative of Colorado Waste Disposal, and he shared with me some new implements that we are doing in Colorado to begin recycling and processing plastic waste. I also attended Colorado State University Murals. This was a science conference for undergraduate research and artistry at Colorado State University. So I had one of my own posters that is currently up for publication review that I presented, and it's a large poster session similar to a science fair. However, it's local here at CSU. Um, there's no formal dress requirement or expectation or publications, anything like that. Whereas I have presented in the past at professional science conferences. So this was cool to be able to see what CSU does for something getting people ready to launch into scientific research. I also was able to get an overhead video with my tripod of how many poster attendees were there. It also had oral presentations in the morning to be able to share their research with judges and win some prizes. Now, my interviews, I decided to branch in two different directions. One interview was with Dr. Mary Bevilacqua, who is a biomedical engineer, engineering better knee replacements, better heart valve, better um, medical processes for surgical treatments to help better the viability of engineered components for human health. And her perspectives on what science communication looks like, the impacts it has had on her, and her interactions with science communication. I also was able to interview Dr. Erin O'Callahan, who is a professor of gender studies at Colorado State University. She has a PhD in criminology and gender studies. And I was able to speak to her about the soft sciences of sexuality and gender identity, legal rights in the country, and the way they look. Now, I also went through the All Sides site with their layout for composite journalism, compiling multiple different sources from multiple different authors on singular particular topics. This also reminded me of Ground News, if anyone is familiar with Ground News, more on social media, that does a comprehensive composite list of what other news outlets are saying. So bias is inherent to being humans. We all have walks of life, we all have perceptions, we all have experiences. So being able to disclose those biases, I think, is a more apropos direction to be able to go towards greater media literacy amongst the populace. So rather than saying both sides on this very narrow dichomatic spectrum where everyone is going to be either left or right of us, they say all sides because there's going to be different perspectives. However, not necessarily right or left or liberal or conservative. And that can apply to my works as well here. There's not a lot of uh, spectral analysis on the realm of science communication as it applies. However, there are different approaches that we can view and observe in science communication through hard STEM sciences or the social and art sciences.